Hello and thanks for joining us on another edition of National Focus. I'm Jarna Hector. Coming up, VF Inc. holds health and wellness lecture. Colin Piper speaks of the progress of Dominica's tourism industry, and Prime Minister Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit presents $200,000 towards small business development in the St. Joseph constituency. Stay with us for details of these and other stories after the break.
Listen closely and you will hear what climate change might sound like. Hurricanes getting stronger and more frequent. Glaciers melting, causing a rise in sea levels. Dry bush burning after a prolonged drought left the bushes vulnerable to fires.
What? No water again?
But listen closely again and you will hear the solutions. People switching to energy-saving light bulbs. People building stronger homes that can withstand hurricane force winds. Our climate may be changing, but so can we. Making small changes together can have a huge effect on reducing the impacts of climate change. Act now. Rally, rethink, respond. This message is brought to you by the OECS Secretariat with funded assistance from USAID.
Documentaries and in-depth discussions, community walkthroughs, and Yes We Care. See it all on GIS Channel 7.
Welcome back. Eric Serra is the new chairman of the St. Joseph Village Council. Serra and 7 other councillors were officially sworn in during the council's 20th inaugural meeting on Wednesday at Matthews Hall.
As the newly elected chairman of the St. Joseph Village Council, I want to say to you, need not be afraid. Because this team of councillors that you see right here consists of highly motivated individuals whose main objective is to work towards the complete social, economic, and cultural development of the village of St. Joseph.
Serra, in his maiden address to residents, spoke of his vision for the development of St. Joseph.
I am confident that with the leadership skills that I possess, I can move this team forward to ensure an economic and social revitalization in St. Joseph. We are going to target each and every age group in St. Joseph. We are going to work with them to better our society, for ourselves and the ones to come. We as a team are ready and willing to work hand in hand with sponsors and institutions on a local level to develop programs in St. Joseph, both technical and educational programs in which our youth can participate and learn new skills and trade in areas such as plumbing, tiling, electricals, culinary arts, sewing, among others. This program will help us tackle and minimize the level of unemployment that plagues our village. And as we target unemployment through these programs, we hope to see a decrease in the level of criminal activities that surrounds us, as a means of instilling the values of self-help, self-responsibility, democracy, equality, equity, and solidarity among our villagers. We as a council will strive to promote and support the creation of cooperatives as a means of providing employment, thus the social, cultural, and economic satisfaction of our people.
Parliamentary representative for the St. Joseph constituency, Honorable Kelva Daru, at Wednesday's meeting announced actions taken by government to provide lands for small business development for the youth of St. Joseph.
I have also written to the Minister of Agriculture, and the Prime Minister has given the okay that we'll be making the lands at Heathrow Garden, where the old center used to be, available to the people of St. Joseph so they can undertake projects in small business and entrepreneurship projects, as well as development of small business projects. And I believe this will go a long way in ensuring that there is progress and self-sustained jobs for young people in St. Joseph. And some of the areas we are looking at is in animal rearing. We know that some of our young people, they are interested in ensuring that they can raise fowls and chickens and so forth. And the lands that will be available for that. Some of them are interested in ensuring that they have seedlings and short-term crops developed, and the land is available for that. Some of them are interested in other initiatives, and government is making the land at Hillsborough Gardens, the old center estate, available to the community of St. Joseph for young people to ensure that we can have various training programs done there and enhance the employment availability here in this community. And this, I believe, will go well for this community.
Prime Minister Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit presented a check of $200,000 to the chairman of the council to assist in the development of small businesses in the St. Joseph constituency.
A number of them are extremely talented, and who like this startup capital to do the small businesses, whether it's in farming, whether it's in fishing, whether it's in music development, whether it's arc welding, whether it is our wonderful bakery here close to the back street and so forth. All of these people are interested in creating employment for themselves, and we would like the council to implement that project and program on behalf of the government and in collaboration with the Small Business Support Unit. But the council will be responsible for managing the resources. And what I would like to see happen is that before anybody receives money from this program, that we have about a 1-week training program to test to see who is serious. Because if you miss one class, it means therefore you're disqualifying yourself from the series. Because business is a serious business.
The St. Joseph Village Council was first inaugurated in 1954. More on the OECS Parliament meeting. Prime Minister Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit talks of how Dominica can benefit from being a part of the OECS Economic Union.
We're a small country, like all of us in the OECS, and there are things that we have to do together. And I give a classic example of the situation confronting British American Insurance Company and also CLICO, where these companies ended up having challenges with several of our citizens having invested. If Dominica had decided, look, we're going to deal with our issue by ourselves, we do not need St. Vincent, we do not need Grenada, we do not need any of the islands, there is a strong possibility, I would dare say, that everybody who invested would have lost his or investment. We also have had cooperation at the monetary level in respect to the central bank. We've been together for a very long time. We have the same currency. At the court level, we share the same court system. So there are things that we have been doing together that have brought benefits to us. If each one of us were to have our own court system, how would we finance it? Where would we get people to become judges and so forth? If we were to have our own central bank, how would we afford to have a central bank? And really, true in fact, our economies are too small to have individual central banks.
He described how the OECS as a body benefits from worldwide services.
We've been procuring medical and pharmaceutical services for some time, jointly. And because of the economies of scale, because of the volume at which you're importing or purchasing from the suppliers, you get discounts. And every country, including Dominica, would benefit or has been benefiting from those discounts.
The Prime Minister sees great advantages from adopting a wider vision for development instead of just a local one.
And we have to take this thing to another level and look at what are the other services that we're offering our citizens individually that we can do together to allow them to have a better offering to our citizens. So there are a number of benefits, and also Dominica is no longer your marketplace. You have the entire OECS as your marketplace, as a business. So you are a journalism student. You decide you want to have a newspaper. It could be a regional newspaper, an OECS-wide newspaper. And you do not need to have a license to operate in any of the countries. You do not need to register your newspaper in any of the countries to be able to sell your product or to procure services in terms of advertisement from these countries.
Honorable Skerrit believes that collectively the OECS can move forward through collaborative efforts.
it's important for us to continue to be focused because of the economic challenges we're having. The natural reaction is to be more inward looking to see how you can address your issues by yourself and to see and so forth, but it will not always work. We really have to work together and find ways of cooperating and collaborating more, because even when you put all of us together, you're talking about less than 700,000 people, and this is an apartment building in China.
In more news, health and wellness was the subject of a lecture and discussion at the Fort Young Hotel as organized by VF Inc. VF Inc. is a consulting service provider which delivers solutions in a wide range of areas to organizations and individuals in the Caribbean, Europe, Africa, and the United States. The theme of the activity was embracing positive wellness behavior in our daily lives. Chief Executive Officer of the company, Dr. Valda Henry, delivered the welcome remarks explaining the objectives of the lecture.
Given that in January, February, there was really a lot of talk on the radio and from the Ministry of Education about the growth of the chronic non-communicable diseases, we felt that that would have been something fitting. And then when, Dr. Jones, who just relocated to Dominica in January and is speaking, in terms of how, in terms of collaborating with VFing, we felt that that would have been a good introduction of her to the public, and since that was really one of her areas of strength and expertise, that it would be fitting to have this lecture.
That lecture was attended by officials from the Ministries of Trade and Health, along with members of the public, invited guests, clients of VF Inc., and officials from the Phenomenal Women Caribbean Symposium. Representing the Ministry of Trade and Industry was Dr. Eisenhower Douglas, a trade consultant. Dr. Douglas supported VF's initiative to associate health and wellness with the island's economy.
Health and wellness is a very important niche of the tourism subsector, and to the extent that we can be successful at it, we can help improve the quality of life and the standard of living in Dominica. It's really from that angle we in the Ministry of Trade would want to say hats off to Dr. Henry and her ability to identify that niche.
Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Health, Helen Royer, also spoke at that meeting, which she considered a notable event. Royer applauded VF Inc., stating that the organization consistently delivers solutions with integrity. One such solution, she says, was the Health and Wellness Lecture, which she believes was timely and consistent with her ministry's priorities. She expressed the need for public education in the area of health and wellness, since according to her, hypertension continues to be a pressing matter.
Each year in Dominica, new cases of hypertension are recorded. In 2010, there were 51 new cases, and in 2011, 45. This is an indication that we need to constantly educate the public on health and wellness practices. This will require a whole of community and a whole of society approach. Today, as we focus on your theme, embracing positive wellness behavior in our daily life, it is necessary to know that healthy living is about making healthy choices every day. Healthy choices that keep us fit physically, mentally, and spiritually. By staying healthy, we can prevent chronic non-communicable diseases and reduce our risk of becoming ill.
The chosen lecturer for the event was CEO of the Human Factor Consulting Services, Dr. Sybil Allen Jones. Her lecture focused on practical ways of improving health and general well-being.
Hippocrates, over 2,500 years ago, said, "Let food be thy medicine, and medicine be thy food." Traditional Chinese medicine and Ayurvedic medicine, which comes from an Indian tradition, is over 5,000 years. And in that tradition, the body is designed to heal itself because the body has an innate intelligence and an ability to heal itself. So if we reflect on the fact that the body is able to heal itself, what we have to do is provide conditions under which the body can work and do its job. Often what we're doing is that we're injuring our body every day by the way we're living and eating. And these small injuries are contributing to our serious problems, particularly in the area of non-communicable diseases.
VF Inc. observed its 7th anniversary last month. In more news, Colin Piper, CEO of the Discover Dominica Authority, or the DDA, highlighted the growth of Dominica's tourism industry over the past year. At a press conference held by the DDA late last month, Piper disclosed the statistics of stayover tourist arrivals in the country for the year 2012.
Dominica welcomed just shy of 79,000 visitors. We welcomed 78,965 stayover arrivals. And this figure surpasses any visitor number seen over the last 3 years.
Piper also gave an overview of the specific figures for each tourism market.
Just some highlights from 2012 is that the strongest source market was the French West Indies, which grew 6.9% to a record of 23,011 visitors. We had increases from both Martinique, which were 7,002 visitors, and Guadeloupe 16,009, both surpassing previous recorded highs. We also had steady performance and growth within all the key subregions: France, metropolitan France, the United Kingdom, the German-speaking market, and Scandinavia. And overall, arrivals from Europe grew by 11.1% for a total of 12,816. We had better performance from the Canadian market and the North American market. The Canadian market grew by 2.6%. And also in the United States, when you look at non-US or non-student arrivals, we had a growth of 8%.
According to Piper, these figures showed an overall growth of 4.5% in stayover arrivals in Dominica, following its 1.3% decline in 2011. Additionally, Piper reported Dominica's achievements at the International Tourist Board, or ITB Berlin, in Germany. The ITB Berlin is the world's largest travel and tourism trade fair and was held in early March this year. Piper stated that Dominica had the opportunity to cement its relationship with the French overseas departments, particularly Guadeloupe and Martinique.
We work particularly well with Guadeloupe and Martinique. We have 37 tour operators in the German market that market Dominica as a destination, and we have 15 actually of those tour operators that do a multi-destination package. And as you would recognize, access being one of the things that we have had to deal with over the years, we utilize the fact that Guadeloupe and Martinique are right next door and provides direct service from the European continent. And so in particular from the German market, we have 15 tour operators that have a multi-destination package where in some cases they'll come to Guadeloupe for 5 days, come to Dominica for 4 or 5, and then go to Martinique for...
He also said that Dominica received a great deal of publicity at this event.
We received some media recognitions. Many of you would recognize that we came out with the I Am Dominica Are You campaign last year. Well, there's a 2-minute video that was generated as a result of that, and it was shown at the ITB. It was shown at the ITB trade show and received an award. So Dominica is being recognized for its nature, its culture, and its adventure. And secondly, we also, based on a press trip for a German journalist who then went back and wrote an article about Dominica, it was awarded a prize at the CTO Media Awards.
Piper stated that these recent successes are a trend for Dominica, as the country has also made tourism-related wins in Canada, the United Kingdom, and North America. While hoping to maintain this progress in Dominica's tourism industry, Piper explained that the DDA has its eyes set on the increasing numbers of excursionists as possible converts to stayover tourists. Furthermore, he said that they have noticed potential in the yachting industry. Minister for Tourism Honorable Ian Douglas, who was also present at that conference, took the opportunity to inform the public of the upcoming Tourism Awareness Month to be celebrated in May this year. He said that this will be an opportunity to not only display the successes of the tourism industry and celebrate Dominica's God-given gift of nature, but it will also be an opportunity to sensitize the country on matters of the industry, since tourism is everybody's business. In other news, indigenous foods are significantly healthier than processed foods. This announced by Dr. Sybil Allen Jones, guest speaker at VF Inc.'s lecture on health and wellness held on Wednesday. She stated that the island's local vegetation possesses enormous health value.
Dominica is about nature. It's the nature island. And that's one of the reasons we chose to come to Dominica, because of the nature and because it has that history and tradition of bush and bush medicine. And that's what we have to start embracing and reflecting on and using and recognizing the value of it. Because if we don't, and if you don't, I'm not quite Dominican yet, but if we don't, then other people will, okay? And that's why it's important for us to really understand what we have here and to really embrace it.
Dr. Allen Jones stated that oral health is an indicator of general health. She referenced Weston Price, a dentist who proved that theory.
He traveled around the world. He went to over 14 different countries in search of what made people healthy. He didn't focus on people who were sick. He was focusing on people who were well and trying to find out, well, what are they doing that keeps them healthy? And when he investigated, he found that most of the people in the remote areas of the world, he observed that they had perfect dental arches, minimal tooth decay, high immunity to tuberculosis. And this study was done in 1939, and that tells you how important it is in terms of starting our understanding of the importance of what did he discover? The people who stayed well ate their indigenous food, meaning the foods in their countries, the foods like our ground provisions, our coconut milk and our coconut water, the foods that our bodies being here are used to and have adapted to.
Dr. Allen Jones mentioned that processed foods change the way the body is programmed and is connected with the development of non-communicable diseases.
Once we start to move away from those indigenous foods, he also found that what they have, or their jaw structure started to change, crooked teeth started to come in, arthritis and low immunity, all kinds of diseases started to come about because people were now, looking at things like eating a lot of white flour, white sugar, refined vegetable oils, canned goods. Signs of degeneration quickly became evident. Surprise. That's what we've been doing. That's what we've been doing. We've been moving away from the things that nurture us in a healthy and a well manner. Once we continue to do that, the degeneration, in this case, now we're looking at non-communicable diseases like diabetes, hypertension, arthritis, cancer, a lot of autoimmune diseases. Those are the ones that are now taking over because we have moved away from our natural foods.
Dr. Sybil Allen Jones is the Chief Executive Officer of Human Factor Consulting Services. And that's all for the English news. Coming up next, one tip to cultivate patience.
Listen closely and you will hear what climate change might sound like.
$30 for a hand of bananas?
Severe drought could destroy banana plants and drive food prices up.
And now we can see the dead coral reef below us.
Dead coral? I thought it was alive.
No, it's dead. If you look at the pictures, you can see what the coral used to look like.
Oh, wow.
Natural wonders like coral reefs are disappearing. But listen closely again, and you can hear the solution. People disposing of garbage responsibly and not in drains and rivers. People responsibly discarding engine oil. Our climate may be changing, but so can we. Making small changes together can have a huge effect on reducing the impacts of climate change. Act now. Rally, rethink, respond. This message is brought to you by the OECS Secretariat with funded assistance from USAID.
Documentaries and in-depth discussions, community walkthroughs, and Yes We Care. See it all on GIS Channel 7, Channel 7, Channel 7, Channel 7, Channel 7, Channel 7.
Focus on short-term goals to reach big ones in your quest for patience. Sometimes you can lose sight of long-term goals in the rush towards instant gratification. It helps to cut lofty long-term goals into smaller chunks. Whatever route you decide to take, setting little goals will help you achieve the big ones faster. And that's all for National Focus today. We welcome your suggestions and comments. Please feel free to drop us an email at gis@dominica.gov.dm or visit our website at news.gov.dm. Friend us on Facebook and be sure to like our GIS Dominica fan page. You can also catch up on past National Focus newscasts on our GIS Dominica YouTube channel. On behalf of the entire news production team, I'm Jarna Hector. Thank you for watching.
And now, the end is near, and so I face the final curtain. My friend, I'll say clear, I'll state my case, of which I'm certain. I've lived a life that's full. I've traveled each and every highway, and more, much more than this, I did it my way.